Okay, guys, so today I'm going to be going over the top Master Duel decks post-Sprite of Miracles. We have so many amazing strategies jumping on into the Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitive game, and it's going to be exciting to talk about the benefits and also some things that happen to certain decks. As you can see, we have 5 different categories here. Big damage stepper. These are diamond-worthy decks that can easily take you to the top tier of contention. All figured out. We pretty much know what these decks are. They're extremely good, and we're confident in their ability to be able to compete. Valid decks are decks that are, they're good. Maybe your pet deck that's actually being able to do something. And then, of course, the last one, second to last, YouTube said it was good, guys. Oh my God. Yo, I'm serious, guys. Let me go ahead and turn the chat on. But YouTube said it was good. There's so many times when players say, hey, somebody so-and-so said it was a good deck, so I should play it. Sometimes it's not that great of a deck. And then, of course, our last category, which is Xbox Cross Playoff, should have bought OnlyFans instead. You'd probably be better off buying OnlyFans instead of playing these decks. So let's go ahead and start off with ABC. Already, you probably should have bought OnlyFans instead. This deck doesn't necessarily get anything like directively good. It does get some cards that could help. Ancient Fairy Dragon coming off the list does help, but the unfortunate thing with ABC is that with the banning of Union Carrier, the deck's pretty much inconsistent and dead. Unfortunately, I don't think that this deck will be able to compete in the Master Duel meta, and you're probably just better off grinding those into deaths and getting back into the game. Adamantipator, I still think is a fairly good strategy in the game, a really good synchro strategy that can make some really tough boards to beat. It does take a very good player to understand it, but we've pretty much already gotten the gain on Adamantipator with Block Dragon and Master Duel. It's pretty good. Despia has actually made the descent that we thought it was going to make. It's not necessarily a bad Yu-Gi-Oh! Strategy. It's really good. It's just we've pretty much figured out the ins and the outs, what to stop and everything to do with this deck. So it does take a more skilled player, as before, you could just get a free win. Now, Blue Eyes. I do not like to talk about my YouTube companions in a negative light because they work really hard on their videos. But a lot of times, they're going to show you a Master Duel video that makes Blue Eyes look really, really good. So definitely, YouTube said it was good. Every single time, I'm pretty sure if you type in Blue Eyes, guys, it's going to be something where Blue Eyes is just doing some insane things, guys. I would not build Blue Eyes in this meta. I mean, to be honest, it really should have only bought OnlyFans, but it actually fits right here. YouTube said it was good, so I should play this deck. Cyber Dragons definitely should have bought OnlyFans. It's a YouTube said it was good. Yo, it feels like we almost have 2 categories for should have bought OnlyFans because Cyber Dragon is another deck that people said, yo, this deck's really, really good. And I understand. It can make Therion King Regulus. It can still make Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. But unfortunately, Cyber Dragon just isn't a great Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck. Now, Dark Magician gets support inside of the set. The Sprite of Miracles set, but also gets its own structure deck. You're probably wondering, should I purchase said structure deck? Well, for 1,500 gems, if it gives you everything you need to compete with Dark Magician, I promise you are going to find a lot of players that says Dark Magician is the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Strategy ever. It's going to happen. The clickbait videos, the YouTube said it was good. It is going to happen. Dark Magician is actually not bad. It's significantly better than Cyber Dragon and Blue Eyes, if you ask me. Well, maybe just significantly better than Cyber Dragon. Blue Eyes isn't terrible. It's a little more consistent. 1,500 gems for a Dark Magician structure deck is pretty damn good. I would say get it, but understand that your level of optimism will soon be crushed by some of the better decks in the game, though it's not a terrible deck. And again, 1,500 gems, I mean, that don't look that bad. Ignisters is a big damage stepper deck, one of the best decks in Master Duel, and that doesn't really stop here. Sprite doesn't have a legitimate way. Well, never mind. If you have Sprite Pixies, you should be able to out it. I think this deck still can summon unaffected monsters, which is really, really crazy in Master Duel Best of 1, and now uses the Mathmech cards to be able to facilitate combo. Dinos, cool. Dinos aren't bad, but they're not great. I think with Mista 3, what a lot of people have appropriated is that Dinos would be a lot better, but it's necessarily not that good. The problem is you have to know what you're doing, and then you have to balance yourself between playing against some of the better decks in the game and understanding what your deck does. So it's a fairly solid starter deck, a little too expensive though. Dinomorphia almost has the same problem. This is a back row heavy deck that requires you to pay all of your life points to play. So if you ever get in a really solid spot, you can't use your life points as a sort of resource because you won't have any when by the time your opponent takes them all away. Still a fairly solid deck. Dragons are really good. I don't think there's any way around this. If you ever have picked up dragons since the beginning of Master Duel all the way till now, this is a fairly solid strategy that just doesn't go away. So if you were getting into Master Duel and you wanted to be able to pick a particular deck, Dragon / Dragon Link, whatever it wants to be called, it's really, really solid. Drytron has its fair share of weaknesses, but overall, it's still a really good Yu-Gi-Oh deck. One of the biggest problems with Drytron is that it's almost like Dragon Link, but the problem with that is that dragons are a little bit more adaptable, where Drytron, you only have ritual cards, and ritual cards are fairly limited when you compare it to the scope of dragon cards. But it's a really good deck, though I would not put it into a better category. Outlich, I mean, Chad, have you guys experienced Outlich being better than YouTube said it was good? This is like the ultimate test for a Master Duel player. If you lose to Outlich consistently, you probably should do a little bit more research about the card game. If you can beat Outlich consistently, then it says that you are probably over the Master Duel curve. I actually like to use Outlich as a testing ground for players. If they can consistently be Outlich, then you're good. If not, then you might need to just learn about a little bit more about the Yu-Gi-Oh game. Concat 2 does not do enough though. Exosisters just got Exosister Martha. And this is a really interesting spot because Exosisters aren't a bad strategy, but Exosisters do really well when your opponent wants to use cards in the graveyard a ton. I would say with Martha in the new cards like Preternia, Exosisters would probably be one of the higher end Yu-Gi-Oh strategies in Master Duel. Martha does add a lot of value to the strategy, and seeing that we're in a more slower paced Yu-Gi-Oh game because of Maxi being able to give it all of the resources, this could be a deck that could compete. I think that it's going to be a deck that players are going to realize that, hey, this is really, really good. Floowandereeze is valid. Losing Barrier Statue sucks. And Dimension Shifter isn't going to be as powerful against some of the better decks in the game. Labyrinth, valid. Labyrinth isn't as good as I thought it would be, but it has not completely flopped as a strategy. I think the biggest problem with Labyrinth is deck building. Players are still trying to play on Floodgates, which doesn't necessarily progress your strategy, which, you know, I guess that's your cup of tea if you have success with it. And then other players are playing trap cards that may not be as effective for the Labyrinth strategy. So just figuring out the build is probably the hardest thing for Labyrinth. And so far in Master Duel, we haven't figured out a build. Very solid, very, very solid Cyber strategy, guys. This is another one of those Cybers decks that probably won't ever fade out of contention. Very, very solid. Mathmech is currently one of the best decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Period. Like, it is the best deck in Master Duel right now. And I think it's a welcome change of pace for a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players. It's just a solidly good deck that can search a Trishula-like monster. And since it's a Cyber strategy, it keeps on playing, but it still has the weaknesses to Nibiru of all the other Cybers decks. So it's good. Now, if you try to build Morphtronics, you fucking goofy goobert, don't do it. Spend that money on OnlyFans. Seriously. Seriously, don't do it. It's not an investment. We looked just to make sure if Master Duel actually fixed Yu-Gi-Oh!, which they did. It's crazy. They banned Cannon Soldier and all burn cards to make the Morphtronic FTK not viable. It's definitely a deck that I would not even waste my time on. Pendulum decks, oh, you're going to get, I might get a lot of pushback for this, but Pendulum decks all in general, they all have the exact same problem. They require way too much resources for the output that they give. As you know, Master Duel has Beyond the Pendulum and Heavy Metal Foes Electromite. And the deck still isn't, it's still not doing numbers. It has almost everything plus more and still isn't doing enough to be able to compete in Master Duel. I think there's two big reasons for this. The first reason is that ain't nobody got time to be reading all them Yu-Gi-Oh cards. All right. And the second is what I said. The inboard, there's other decks that just do it better currently. Phantom Knights, this is a strategy that a lot of diehards love, but it's definitely in the YouTube said it was good. Doesn't necessarily have an inboard that would be appeasing to go against some of the better decks. Rika, God, guys, Rika got ridiculous amounts of support. Both Rika and Sun Avalon, these decks will probably be some of the better decks in the game. Master Duel also even fixed its timing. Now you'll gain more time between playing games, making combo decks a little bit better to play. I think that with the new Rika Konkon, it allows you to be able to break boards. Actually, I know it allows you to be able to break boards, and this will be one of the better decks in Master Duel. Plunder Patrol, solidly good. Psychic and Punisher is pretty good. Unfortunately, the Adventure Engine is still hit pretty hard. Predaplants, again, another die-hard fan base for this deck. I don't think I've had a single replay submitted since this deck came out where Predaplants did not brick. It is like, what is going on? Like, it's a walking brick. I'll admit my hope for Predaplants was a lot higher than an actual reality. I thought that this would take over Despia as the better branded deck, but unfortunately that didn't happen. Punk, oh man, guys, you guys better figure this out. Punk is scary right now because of the new Punk Deer Note and their new field spell. Oh my God, yo, Punk has all of the utilities to be the deck that it was. So what? We don't have Hakla Fibrix. There's still cards like Therions and the Chaotic Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon. This deck, mark my words, could be, I think at the end of the day, it'll be a big damage stepper. It's legitimately good. They said I forgot Heroes. I would put Heroes invalid. So let's just go ahead and say there's an imaginary spot for Heroes invalid. Is the new Punk Synchro good? Yes. Yes. The new Punk Synchro is amazing. Punk Therion, I think at the end of the day, may be a big damage stepper. Runic, we all get frustrated about this deck, but we've started to realize that is hated, Chief, and rightfully so. Good thing that it isn't. Solomon Great, I'm not going to champion and say to you that Solomon Great is the best deck for a budget player. 1,500 gems, and then you pull a couple of Mathmech cards. It's really good, but as a pure deck, no. Scareclaw, it's just valid. Unfortunately, not necessarily good right now, but hopefully in the future that changes. Sharks, you're going to see a lot of Shark replays where Sharks are just like popping off. And you guys are like, yo, whoa, Callie, this is good. Unfortunately, I think Sharks take a very skilled player where if you make a mistake, you get punished way too hard to be able to pilot this deck. Same thing with Sky Striker. And this is, you guys are probably coming after me with that one. Sky Striker, and don't get me wrong, none of these decks are necessarily bad. Well, none of these decks are necessarily bad per se, right? None of them are terrible. They're playable, but you have to know what's going on. But why are there lots of Runic players still in Diamond 1? Well, let's first of all say that this is post the Forbidden List. Secondly, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to get people off of playing Runic. Oh, man. Thirdly, Runic is a really weird deck because there's like, if you're not prepared for the deck, it's almost like an auto win, right? But if you come prepared for the deck, then you win. There's no in between with this deck. Either you come prepared for it, you auto win, or you don't and you lose. But it's almost like a coin flip. Swordsoul just might. Swordsoul is one of the best decks in Master Duel. I was so wrong about this. I'll eat crow. Yeah, the Runic engine is ridiculous. I'll agree. The Runic engine is ridiculous. But I'll eat crow. I thought Swordsoul would not be good with 2 Long Yuan. It's solid. It's one of the best decks in the game. Thunder Dragons, You're going to see a lot of replays on this. Huge fan base. YouTube said it was good, but it's not. It's okay, right? Tribergate, valid, solid Yu-Gi-Oh deck. It's just a decent deck that you can play. Kiryushin, YouTube said it was good. I wanted to put it higher, but YouTube said it was good. Virtual World, it's a little inconsistent, but it's a fairly good strategy. Overall, it's just a great deck. And then lastly, Sprite. Sprite will be one of the best decks, if not the best deck in Master Duel. Damn the ban of Totally Awesome. Damn the semi-limit of Sprite Starter. Those really don't matter. This deck will still be extremely powerful because the level 2s that it summons for free are still there. And any level 2 cards literally get abused by this deck. Even in the TCG, the deck is still thought of and highly regarded as one of the best decks after some of its best cards got murdered. But that's all I think about for the Master Duel tier list post-Sprite Miracles. It's still going to be a really, really fun set. Personally, I think Master Duel is in a better spot than TCG has been in a very long time. And the deck to watch out for would be Runic Sprite. Like pure Runic, the deck out Runic, but Runic Sprite or Runic variants of like Runic Swordsoul and ever stuff, that is pretty solid. Of course, let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Can't wait to see what you guys have to say. Maybe I'm wrong about some of these. Maybe I'm right. Whatever you guys got to say, let me know. I'm excited to see what you have to say, and I'll catch you on the next one. Spiral's in the trash.